what's so important here is focusing on you, turning the table around as mentioned in the first opening, that we want to concentrate on you. So based on the buyer's profile, we always talk about your intent of the purchase, which is it for legacy planning, dwelling with good paper value gain, or is it for investment, passive investment vehicle, looking to cash in and out in the shortest period of time. And of course, this will then lead on to the equity on hand. Okay, equity on hand will decide or determine the size and type of investment approach, and also the accessibility to different district and sectors, or even asset class. So strategy, this is pretty much when we are go more deeper into your individual profile. For some of you who may be holding existing property, should you be paying it off, or should you be doing a gear up if you're holding a private property? And the HDB on hand, should you be selling off to avoid ABSD or keep it for passive vehicle? And some of you who have children that are more than under 21 years old, you may also want to use their name, basically buying trustee. And what are the so-called implication and to mitigate ABSD, so to speak? And thirdly, we also talk about, should you be paying your mortgage loan by CPF cash? Of course, right now, doesn't make sense to use CPF to really pay your mortgage, so to speak, okay? And also, which banks are offering the best clauses and rate to give you the best outcome? So over here, we want to focus on intent on your purchase, and here why intent matters. Because in short, we talk about this, it will affect your horizon and holding power, okay, especially your exit timing. Next, the type of property, which is your budget. And in today's context, we talk about that TDSR increment of 0.25, right? And also the district and location, because this will also determine the accessibility and the amenities and lifestyle as well. So we're going to put it into different profile or approach, which is based on goal, so to speak. So this is investment only, and this is dwelling, that means to stay with investment as well. So investment only, usually people look at passive income or shortest in and out with highest gain. And dwelling investment usually is for growing family, which is kids is their priority, schools, childcare center and whatnot. And the second one will be no kids, retirees, singles, or dual income with no children. So let's go into category number one, investment only, passive income as the mainstream. So we learned that if you want to get passive income or highest passive income, you want to focus a lot on near transport hub and reputable school. Strong rental yield is important, and also low maintenance fee, which means you want to get developments that are a lot more bigger in size, not the small ones where each of you are paying so much higher and zero facilities. And very importantly, most of them will not think about having an exit strategy because they just think about the high rental and low price to enter. So in this instance, I just want to share you have to think about having an exit in mind. And choose a unit based on higher growth potential rather than just the cheap PSF. Because when you go into passive investment strategy, you're looking at cash flow. Okay, and when people look at cash flow, they more often look at, of course, first thing first, cheap PSF, low quantum. But they do not know that more often than not, this property would have already stagnated for some time, and they are usually beyond the 15-year shelf life. Okay, so this is my last masterclass. I actually talked about it in January. I used two projects as a comparison, namely Thompson Tree and Jetscape. So one is already a resale that able to get immediate rental income, and the other one is still under construction that gets zero income, okay, which is Jetscape. But all in all, we see that in short, Jetscape actually able to profit 55,000 more than the Thompson Tree, which is getting active rental income. So many people who goes into lower price tag, in this example, Thompson Tree was buying in at 1.174 million, but effectively only sold for bought at 1.135 and sold for 1.17, okay, which is just 40,000 gain over almost 2.5 or 3 years. And then for the instance of Jetscape, we see that over a period of 3 years as well, this one benefited 4 to 5 times more. Okay, so it's very important that we don't just focus on rental, we focus on the value of the property as well when we are exiting. So capital gain is definitely still the main key for overall profit. So moving towards a location that I want to emphasize, where there is 3 different asset class, and this is not under the urban transformation zone, just to share with you. And why are we using Yishun? Because we want to compare location that has around the same period has a full-fledged residential development that launched, a mixed-use development, and also an integrated development. So we also touched about these three different asset class in terms of its rental yield as well as its price performances in one of my YouTube channels. So if you want to find out more about these three differences, you can just scan this QR code and save it. You can watch it later. Alright, so importantly, moving into this Yishun precinct, we are talking about 9 residences, North Park and Symphony Suites. So 9 residences is the one that is the mixed-use development. North Park is the integrated, and Symphony Suites would be the full-fledged residential development. The left axis, we will see the PSF. Bottom, we see the launch period from 2017 to 2023, a 5 to 6 year cycle. And of course, on the right side is the different rental yield. So in green, 9 residences were launched at about $1,100 per square foot back in 2017. And for North Park, it was launched at about $1,004, rather high. And even have some at about close to $2,000. That's quite abnormal. And then we see that Symphony Suite were going at only about $1,000 per square foot. So those who were looking at this area and usually typically look at cheap, they would have gone for so-called Symphony Suites, right? And those who are looking at, of course, very hype up so-called development integrated one-stop service, that will be North Park. So over this period of time, we see how North Park basically able to still sell higher even though it was launched at a high price of $1,004, effectively sold at about close to about $1,008 per square foot today. And when it comes to annualized gain on the right side, we see how the 9 residences were only getting about 1% in gain. Okay, even though it's a mixed-use development, but it's not near the MRT. For North Park, it was getting about as high as 4.5%. And then Symphony Suite was getting as high as 3.2%. So I'm going to bring your attention to another chart here where we talk about North Park is still winning at both sides. Okay, so in this instance, we see that the annualized gain for North Park stays as the winner in this context. So moving into rental yield perspective, because when you buy, you also want to make sure that you can rent it out at a high rate, right? So mixed use development and integrated development, if you realize with lower buying so-called quantum, you are able to get the highest so-called return in your rental yield. Comparing to Symphony Suites, which is basically a full-fledged residential development, usually you're going to buy a bigger unit type to enjoy the same rental yield. So in short, if you are someone that is budget sensitive and then you want to make sure that your money works harder for you, integrated development may be the key to go because it will give you the highest rental yield with a lower budget. Even though in terms of price comparison, it may be slightly more premium for the smaller unit comparing to a full-fledged residential like Symphony Suites, so to speak.